You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk, a movie podcast where we give pumps and dumps.
Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I am your chunk.
I'm Doge, and it's a chunk thing. I could be like my own son.
And I'm Carter. Age is just a hunk, baby. What are you, like, 40 now?
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
I could taste it as you said it.
Hey, you said hunk.
Yeah,
Tell me why.
I'm the hunk because amidst all of the quantitative analysis of my current degree and all the boring writing that I have to do, I try and have hobbies of writing creatively. So I still stay in that groove. But I've kind of started writing a story, like writing a fiction book. I won't give too many details, but I feel good about it. I feel better about it now because we also talked about it with the three of us.
That's true.
I was really encouraged by that. And so
We did. And I want to say that I think it's really, really bold of you to step out and write Twilight fan fiction like this. I think that is
it's very cool.
yeah, the point was not
It's
to
very cool.
talk about it. I don't want anyone else to steal.
Because, like,
that
I've
from
always-
me.
No, well, I think it's just really cool. Like, I think that Jacob as a character does need to be fleshed out more.
And I've always wondered, like,
I think
what would happen?
Jacob as a character has enough flesh.
What would happen if
Thank you.
Jacob met like Wreck-It Ralph? And so I love that you're taking it
Yeah.
that
But
direction.
Don't.
It's very
I wish
fun.
you wouldn't totally
It's
give
very
away.
fun.
No. I'm not going to
Yeah,
give
no,
it
no.
away. I just think, your scene in particular where Dom Toretto and Jacob
Please
go
stop.
head to head in
Please
a
stop.
chess match was
Unbelievable.
brilliant.
Unbelievable.
Truly.
Checkmate. I got your bishop.
Bella, could you help me with chess? Bella?
Oh goodness.
Bella.
If I beat you in chess, you'll never see Bella again.
Bella.
Twilight.
I think what Twilight needs is a little bit of Vin Diesel. I think that would just take it straight over the
Dude,
edge.
Vin Diesel as Jacob.
Vin Diesel
I
has
don't care
Edward.
how old he is. Let's do it, dude.
Vin Diesel
do
has
it.
both Edward and Jacob. Just one he's
playing
wearing.
two roles.
Come on now.
This is the skin of a killer. You're my only reason for staying alive.
We've changed the name of the whole series to All That Guidos.
It's just Twilight.
Twilight. All That Guidos.
Twilight. All the Guidos.
Oh man.
I'm a vampire like Dwacqua.
I guess.
Oh my
We've
god.
put him into a perfect world for his accent.
Really? There's a lot of L's and R's, Bella.
A werewolf.
My eyes are gold because I'm a vegetarian.
I live in folks.
I can't be here. I'm gonna run away to Italy.
Devotoe.
Devotoe in Italy.
We could do this for the rest of the hour, or we could talk about the movie.
I'd rather do this for the
I
rest of the
think I
hour.
would too.
Just based upon the existence of this movie, I think I'd rather do this.
Yeah. It's kind of a bad time, yeah?
What movie are we talking about, guys? We're talking about the movie that everybody knows. It's called
Twilight. New Moon.
Can you hear how excited we are to talk about it? I'm very excited to talk about
I'm
this
pretty
movie.
amped as well.
I am too.
I'm more excited to talk about this movie than I was watching it. I can say that right now.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for my opinion.
This is one of the first movies that I've watched for the podcast where I repeatedly just said no way out loud,
Dude.
very loudly.
I really did. Sometimes and it might have diluted me saying this now, but sometimes I've said things of like, this makes me feel uncomfortable. That makes me feel uncomfortable. But I really legitimately in my physical being
Yes.
for some of the scenes in here was really ready for it to end.
This is a real
Yeah.
like edge of your seat kind of flick, and not in a
Nah,
good way, but
I
like
don't
I'm
think
just
so.
on the edge of my seat waiting for it to be over.
I was on the back of my seat in the fetal position. Callie called me out yesterday. She was like, I feel like when you said that I like the Twilight movies that you were making fun of me. So in that spirit, I do want to say that she was the biggest advocate for this movie while I was trying to watch it. And every time I was saying like, you've got to be kidding me. She would come in and go, they're trying so hard. They're just really doing their
Well,
best here.
They are trying, but
Are they?
well,
I feel like that's bold to assume they're trying here. And speaking of trying, Doge, what I would like you to do is try to in some way sum up this movie in a synopsis style.
luckily I don't have to do that.
Okay.
IMDb user, their username is all lowercase, no spaces. I have no life, period.
Well,
Has written a summary of this. And I think that I Have No Life Period did a very good job, so I'm going to
Oh my
read
gosh.
their writing.
Okay.
I Have No Life Period says, Bella Swan is still very much in love with vampire Edward Cullen. The rest of the vampire coven who call themselves the Cullens, especially Alice, decide to throw Bella a private party for her 18th birthday. Things go wrong when Bella slices her finger and thirst overcomes the vampires.
Oh my gosh.
As a result of the danger Bella was put through, the Cullen family decide to leave Forks, Washington. At first, Bella exempts herself from all social activities until she realized she can coexist with childhood friend Jacob Black, which is a really weird way of saying she rebounds.
Yeah, for real.
As usual for Bella, things aren't what they seem.
Nope.
Something is happening to Jacob that he can't explain to Bella, and their friendship starts to deteriorate. But when someone from Bella's past comes back to haunt her, everything will change again.
Oh my god.
Genuinely don't know what this person is referring to with that
What
last
movie
sentence.
did they watch?
I have no idea, but that is
Someone
I think,
from Bella's past, as in like 6 months ago.
as in like Alice? I don't know, but
no, I think
but-
they mean what's her name? Melissa, the redhead mean one.
oh, the one who's
Victoria.
supposed to be a
Victoria,
big
that's
deal,
right.
but not really a big deal in this movie.
No, she's the biggest deal. What are you talking?
Anyway, that's I guess technically and legally a description of this movie, so I think we can get
Yeah, that'll pass.
rolling.
Let's cliff dive on in.
Yeah. Wow.
How long
Good
have
one.
you been prepping that?
Good one. That was a great
You've
one.
been saving that one?
48 hours.
I do happen to know from pre-recording conversation that Carter has something that he is itching to share with the group.
I mean, I'll do it right now.
I'd love for you to.
We get tons of probably Carter's favorite artist working today in this medium.
And I'll tell you what, I think that somebody really underappreciated in this movie. I couldn't even get to that sentence without a chuckle. I think somebody really underappreciated in this movie is Taylor Lautner. I believe that
It's pronounced Lautner.
Lautner, the artistry that he brings, specifically in his pronunciation of Bella's name as Bella.
Bella.
And the hardness with which he, I'm going to say, annihilates the final consonant of every word that he pronounces in this
He just
movie.
kind of quacks everything out, doesn't he?
It's just, Bella,
Bella.
don't do this. I'm serious.
This
is a bad idea.
It's a wolf thing.
It's absolutely, I mean,
Gosh.
I'm going to say
guys.
astonishing.
Yeah.
So, Carter, would you take us into
Yeah.
the mind and inside the world of the world's greatest actor,
Let's see
Taylor
how he
Lautner?
got here. I've got a little biography for you guys. His first interest really was karate. He went
As was ours.
You need
Oh.
to know everything I'm about to read is real.
Okay.
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 He at Fabiano's karate school. Fabiano's.
Who doesn't want to be taught karate by an Italian mafia family?
Right?
Hey, come on now we do big kicks.
But anyways,
make sure you say the hiya.
after his hot start with Fabiano, he was invited to train with a 7-time world karate champion. You all know him. Let's say it together.
Michael
Shadow
Tablets.
I'm not kidding. AKA Mike Chat. Anyway,
Mikey chats on the beat.
here's the deal though. I mean, we can't. Taylor was asked at the age of 8 to represent his country, unfortunately, the United States.
That's my country too.
In the
I
12
hate
years in
this.
under division. Anyways, he did really well. Taylor continued to flourish in the martial arts circuit. He ranked #1 in the world for NASCA's Black Belt Open Forums musical weapons. Musical weapons?
Excuse
What?
everything?
Musical weapons? Traditional weapons and traditional
All I'm
forms.
seeing is Mulanda. Let's get down to business.
What is a music like a boom whacker?
3-time junior, right?
Bong, bong,
Three-
bong, 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 bong.
3-time junior world champion. Okay.
Of what?
Of
Musical karate?
musical weapons. Anyways, guys, please, I need your attention here.
Yeah, I'm here.
This
I'm
is my
focused in. I'm
favorite
focused
part.
in.
However, here's where we take a turn.
I
As
love a
most
twist.
famous actors do from martial arts to acting.
Yeah, sure.
However, in addition to his love for martial arts, Taylor quickly developed a love for acting at the age of 7 years old when his
Who
martial
doesn't?
arts instructor, who was involved in show business, he encouraged him to audition for a small appearance in a Burger King commercial. Wait. So the reason we have Jacob the Wolf Boy
Yeah.
and Shark Boy
It's
is
chicken
because
fries.
I have taken the advice of a martial arts instructor.
Was it his Italian grandfather? guy?
Perhaps it was, hey,
Have you ever considered burgers?
Love to act. So encouraged him to audition for a small appearance in a Burger King commercial. Here was my favorite part because the biography roasts Taylor unintentionally. Although he was unsuccessful.
Oh. So does that mean that commercial never
Couldn't
aired?
get a Burger King commercial, but he got a multi-million. Guys, he got percentages of the last 3 movies of everything that it made. Like 2% on some of those. Like all Twilight merch, anything that had to do with Twilight, this kid is a multi-millionaire.
So Taylor Lautner owes everything that he is and has to the store Hot Topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although he was unsuccessful, he enjoyed the experience so much that he told his parents he wanted to pursue an acting career. So here's what happened. Parents loved him so much,
Sure.
they up and quit their jobs and moved from Michigan to California
California.
so that Taylor could audition for acting roles on a regular basis. Taylor moved with his family to LA.
I'd love to know how many tries that
he was
one
getting
took.
more and more small acting roles. He was in My Wife and Kids, Summerland, the Bernie Mac show. He found himself becoming successful in films as well. He found himself becoming successful. Is he successful?
His films.
Can we say his films might have been? He was in Cheaper by the Dozen too. He played
Sure.
Elliot Murdaugh, unless you didn't remember that.
Sure. But who does?
I watch that at least once a year.
And then of course he gets to portray Jacob Black.
Of course.
Where does Shark Boy fit in?
He calls it though? They said he branched out in roles in films such as a star-studded romantic comedy, Valentine's Day.
Do you remember when that movie came out?
I do.
Yeah.
It tanked.
And the action-packed thriller Abduction, which I have myself said
I want
is
to talk
one
about
of the worst movies
Abduction really quick. Abduction is a movie where nobody is abducted.
ever. Yeah, they're not abducted,
No one is abducted in the whole movie.
but it's called Abduction. Anyways,
That's real.
I'll give you the final sentence of the biography. I have skipped over, I'm telling you, 85% of this stuff.
Holy
Because
moly.
it's
Is
just
this
too much.
like a crowdsourced thing, like a fan written thing?
I think it's a fan-written thing.
I think he wrote it.
It has quickly been established by this young man's diverse and gifted talent that we will continue to be his audience for many years to come.
Wow, that's so true. When you really look at the heart of it, I can't stay away from those Taylor Lautner movies.
Taylor layout.
My super dump is Taylor Lautner.
Oh, wow.
No, for this movie, I can do it here. If I can
Yeah,
do it in
go.
any
Go.
episode, it is this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
There's so much
somebody
of him.
said, yes, and it's worse than what Hayden Christensen did.
It's not even comparable.
No way. It's so much worse.
So much worse. But this is, I would love to start diving into the movie by asking a question.
Please.
So every big critique that I see, and it's rotten everywhere. It's rotten everywhere. All these movies
Yeah.
are rotten. This was the most rotten. So this was the worst. So we have maybe something to
Does
look
not
forward
surprise
to.
me.
But every time, verbatim, Rotten Tomatoes says it's bad unless you're a fan. Like this really plays towards the fans of the franchise.
I want to say something about this movie in regards to this.
Go.
I think it was a technological marvel because they were able to stick 2 number 2 Ticonderoga pencils in front of a green screen and turn them into humans somehow that we were watching. I'm trying to say the acting was wooden. There are scenes in this movie that I've never seen a movie that felt more like a table read for a real movie.
Yeah, for real. It feels like rehearsal.
My question is it worth it if it's just for the fans? I can tell you financially,
Yeah, 100% it is.
over $700 million worth it.
That
Yes.
is about $699,999 too many dollars.
So what though? Playing devil's advocate. What makes us love Fast and Furious, which is a fan-fueled film franchise, and hate
Nos.
I think it's because we're right on the edge of that target demographic for Fast and Furious. Like Fast and Furious is
We're
like,
just not the target.
like
I
people
guess.
who love cars and people who love stuff blowing up.
Yeah.
I really don't care about cars, but I love to watch stuff blow up in movies.
Right.
For this,
And they've given us characters that
Yeah.
while they're static.
I'm not interested in like
No.
tween romance.
Here's what I'll
so-
say. Fast and Furious knows what it is. It took it a little bit, but it got there. And it understands what it is, and it knows why it's that way, and
Yeah.
it leans into the curve. Twilight is desperately trying to be a Harry Potter alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it's got that kind of Hunger Games Maze Runner curse of like, well, Harry Potter was great. We need to have some other big story for teens to invest in.
Yeah, and I think that Twilight really suffers from not being self-aware in the movies and not understanding what it is and why it's that way.
Yeah.
But then also, I think it has to be writing, directing, and acting. Like,
And none of those three are very good at this
really,
one, are they?
I mean, I
Yeah.
just, it's inappropriate.
I don't know how he got the job. I really don't. He's my super dump, and I'm not going to do this every time, but I'll definitely do it now.
No, I'm proud of your bravery.
Because all he was taught by Fabiano and Burger King was that you say a line and then really aggressively work your jaw muscles, but it must be always at this rhythm.
it's constant.
Line, and instead of while you breathe, along with your inhale and exhale, you must work your jaw muscles every time. If you go back and watch it, he does that
Yeah, he really does.
every.
One of the most bizarre
time.
performances I've ever seen.
I have enjoyed improv students more than what he was able to do. Like, I feel like someone could have stepped in and just on the fly have done better.
I'll
I
give him this.
cannot believe it.
Dude's
Guys,
dude's
is it-
shredded right up.
It's the karate. It's all
I
karate.
wrote on my notes the time 46:26. At 46 minutes 26 seconds, this was the first time the world saw Taylor Lautner's body. He takes his shirt off
Okay.
to give it to Bella. I think this is such a significant time
Yeah.
because this is what made 2,000 Brazilian
Well, it's-
girls lock him in his hotel room. Like all these
That
crazy
moment-
stories.
Fair enough.
It's just the shallowness of his fame offends me.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so mad.
Because with somebody like Bieber, he's got the talent. He's there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I get it. But with Lautner, it's just like, you know how many people have abs in the world? Like, you could go
yeah.
after somebody else.
Anyways,
No, I'm with you.
yeah.
I guess we should go through the plot.
I guess we should talk about the movie rather than the
guess
bad actor that's
so.
in it.
It starts.
Bella's
doesn't
birthday party.
Doesn't
huh?
it start? Yeah, it starts and we end up at Bella's birthday party and she has a nightmare that she's an old lady and that, which you know what? I'm into.
Yeah,
I'll give
I
it
actually
that.
really liked that element.
I'm into the plot line of like, I fear growing old while my love stays young.
That is the plot of this movie. That's what this movie should be about.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's really great. It's a great element.
Yeah. I think that's good and all. We get to the birthday party and she's like, I just don't think that I should have a birthday party. And then they throw her one. And man, she gets
She
a
gets
cut
the
on
loudest paper
wrapping
cut
paper
from some
for
wrapping paper.
Whoa. Bad.
It's just a little bit of blood. Like she forgot she's with vampires.
Yep.
And then Jasper's like, oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Which
everybody-
apparently he could not dive after her when her like artery in her leg was severed.
Yeah. In the
But
last
the paper
movie.
cut is too much.
It's tough, man. He was having a tough week.
Edward overreacts, right?
Totally, dude.
Big time.
Cuts are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuts are bad.
Yeah. And once again, I am left thinking, man, Carlisle's the interesting character here.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
As he's removing the glass from her arm and he's fine. And she says, how do you keep from doing what Jasper just did? And he says, years of practice. That's what I'm interested
That's
in.
what I
Please
want
let
the
me see
movie
the
about.
years
That's
of
what I
practice.
want to know about.
Yeah.
Please let me watch the Years of Practice. 100.
Like that's
a
what I'm
Twilight
more interested
prequel
in.
called Noon. That's just Carlisle
High Noon.
being
the Carlisle story.
an abstinence vampire.
It's so
Let's just call it brunch.
it's so funny to me that in this story, Stephanie Meyer is clearly accidentally tiptoeing over something so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not even the Volturi. I can take or leave. I don't really care about them.
Oh, I have opinions about them.
Carlisle's time with the Volturi could be interesting, but to me, again, I have to stress the most interesting thing in Twilight is the vampire who's a doctor and is around blood 24/7, but feels a need to help people and
Yeah.
rejects traditional vampirism out of a desire to help.
Yeah. I love that.
That's the interesting story here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Like,
Continue.
that's what I
Yeah.
want to see.
Same.
So Edward, the Cullens leave, right? I mean, they just bounce.
Yeah, he takes her home and he's like, nah. And then he walks her out into the woods to break up with her because everything important has to happen in the woods in this series.
Yeah.
Nothing important can happen over lunch. It's got to be the woods. He breaks it off and the Cullens are gone, right?
They go.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw a fork in the road here.
A Forks, Washington.
Washington in the road. Because, and I don't want to spend a long time on this, but to me, I was watching the first time I read this, I was hoping that all of these projections that Bella was seeing of Edward meant that he was actually nearby and watching and was getting into her mind to like stop her from doing things. And I was waiting for the moment where he revealed that he had been nearby the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
And that
But I can't leave you alone. You're the only reason I'm alive, if that's what I am.
I'm always gonna love that.
Bella, please don't do this. Bella, please, it's dangerous.
Bella,
Please don't do this.
Bella, you promise you wouldn't do anything reckless.
Please do not jump off the cliff. It is impossible.
Bella, no.
There are so many rocks down there. There's a ginger in the ocean. Don't go. I'm so afraid.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I really thought there was going to be a moment where Edward like jumps out of the woods and saves her. Like, I can't leave you alone. You're the only reason I have her being alive.
Here's the problem I have. So he's what, 109? Didn't he say he had like an age?
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Do you stay eternally immature depending on
That's
when you were
my
bitten?
thing,
Yeah.
right?
He has the wisdom of 110 years.
He shouldn't act like a teenager.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so
That's
funny
hard
to me.
That's hard to buy into, I think.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's the thing?
That's the one thing that keeps me. No, I don't like Twilight.
The very premise of this movie is okay. My super dump. This movie doesn't matter. It impacts nothing. It doesn't. We could end Twilight and jump into Eclipse with a brief overview of a couple different things and be no worse for wear than we were because of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
If we ended Twilight with him at prom instead saying, let's take it to a vote with the family,
Yeah.
then effectively we could skip this whole movie. And if we just made Jacob a character in the first Twilight rather than just, I hear you.
I don't think it has to be a character.
Well, I don't think he has to be a character either, but if we're attached to him being there,
Okay, yeah, you're right.
just make him matter in the first movie, we can skip this entire movie because it does nothing.
Yeah.
Except show how bad of a person Bella Swan is.
Yeah, they're like a weird, like dependent relationship.
Ooh,
Bella is the villain of this movie.
yes.
Whether
She plays Jacob.
there's no excuse
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
This is what also sucks about Taylor Lautner, which it's infinite things that suck about Taylor Lautner. But I had a chance to feel sorry for him.
Yep.
But because I don't like him,
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
No, dude, he's a chump. Jacob's a chump in this movie,
Chump.
though.
But I'm telling you, if I'm reading this, like if I wish I had had the experience Jordan did to read the books before the movies, I think I would have been more offended. But if I'm just reading the lines, I think my mind would deliver that better than what he was able to do. I wonder
my
if he
goodness,
completely
yes.
changes the arc. Does he change the qualities
That's what I
of
asked.
Jacob because of how he acts?
Again, I
what
want
I
to be very
asked
clear.
Jess,
It's been a decade for me.
Jess read these. She loved these books when she was 14, when she was the target audience for them. And I've been making a lot of fun of her for that. Don't worry. But I did ask her while we were watching. I was like, is there in the book any compelling reason for her and Jacob to be together? And she honestly was like, I don't remember. It's been so obliterated by the experience of watching this movie.
Dadgummit.
These stories feel like Stephanie Meyer finished the first Twilight and was like, I would love to do Twilight again. Just sort of redo it, but with werewolves instead.
Hey, you tricked me. It's my super dump right now.
Okay.
My super dump is that it's the same movie again.
Yeah, it's just
that
Twilight
Bella
Part
falls
2.
in love with this guy who's mysterious and creepy, but something supernatural is keeping her from being with him because he's a monster. But don't worry, Bella's love can keep him from being a real monster. It's the same thing again.
Irresponsible.
You know what
We
I can
just
tell you
watched
about
this
werewolves, though?
Tell me.
The same thing Bella told her dad. They're not bears.
So the Cullens leave. She's depressed and sits in her room, and the seasons change via green screen outside of her.
Anybody else besides me mad that her clothes didn't change during the seasons changing scene?
That's how depressed she is, dude. She's been sleeping in those
You know what they
clothes
tried
for
to do?
3 months.
Hate to bring it up, but Pride and Prejudice did that so well
Yes.
when she's swinging and just keeps turning and all it is just changing. But anyways,
It's that
I just wanna bring up
exact
one of my
scene,
favorite movies
just
of all time.
bad this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the Cullens leave, Bella's like, man, I really need somebody else to pour all of my attention and sadness into. And she chooses 16-year-old Jacob Black. And she says, help me build this motorcycle because I discovered on the back of Sketchy Guy's motorcycle that motorcycles make Edward appear in my brain.
Oh, yeah. Big dump on the fact that she just jumps on Sketchy Guy's motorcycle.
It's so stupid. And then she's like, wait,
Sketchy
stop
guy,
the motorcycle. I'm scared now. And that dude's not like, okay, weirdo.
It's like,
also,
don't hit Edward.
They paint every dude in the world that's not Edward or Jacob as somebody who's like, hey, baby, why don't you come on down here? Let's do this.
It's bad. It's really
so
bad.
strange. But
Doesn't matter to me, babe. Just jump on my bike.
Jacob lifts an entire motorcycle with just his two arms.
Wow, dude,
and
how
she
impressive.
at no point is like, that's not normal.
No, she is. She says,
No, I know she is.
Jacob, you're like buff.
Yeah, that's awful. But no, what I'm saying is that like, if I saw somebody pick up an entire motorcycle, I wouldn't be like, whoa, you're buff. I'd be like, get away from me. You're supernaturally strong.
No, that's when she decided she was into it because Bella can only love monsters.
Oh, maybe that's the message.
Maybe she's the monster.
Wait, whoa. Is she called Bella because of Belle from Beauty and the Beast? Who actually does fall in love with a monster?
Tale as old as time.
Probably.
Because that
Song
tale
as old as rhyme.
Wow. No, for real. I wonder if that's a thing. Anyways,
Bella and the Beast.
what is tough for me is, remind me the author's name again of Twilight.
Stephanie Meyer.
She does do so many things cool.
Yeah.
Like with not so many, but there are some storylines that are great. And that's part of why it was a page turner. Like I think of the Da Vinci Code as something that I read in 3 days because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. Right now I'm going through Mortal Engines. Those books, same thing. I mean, it's just, you're just flying through and it's written almost Stephen King-like in terms of like, I'm sure a 6th grader could do the same of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But sometimes those make good movies.
Sure.
But anyways, sorry. How do you feel Taylor Lautner did in terms of showing that he had, because one of the main veins of the character of Jacob is he's kind of going through werewolf puberty.
Yeah.
How do you think he portrayed kind of getting angry out of nowhere? Did it feel real?
I knew it was coming and I was still like, what on earth? Like, he's just like, oh, sorry you were throwing up. But I'll kill you though is the thing.
Yeah, what the heck? He's a wimp. You need someone who's a man and can take care of you.
And also, it's a trope that I didn't know existed and I now hate that gore makes people vomit violently.
Right?
Yeah.
Right now, you're my problem. You want me to put you in a hospital? Like what?
You're not hitting your consonants hard enough. It's like hospital.
Hospital?
Yeah.
Blah?
Blah.
Yeah. That I could hear the karate chops in those
And
words.
he tries to hold her hand. And
They both do. But
she's like, well, that scene was great. I actually really love the scene where both of their hands are in the
it's funny.
Hold my
I think
hand
it's funny.
situation. But I'm talking about out on the staircase. He like holds her hand and she like squirms out and he's like, oh, what? I can't hold your hand? Yeah, dude. Of course. Like she reacts as like, no, you can hold my hand if you want. No, that's not what friends do. Friends aren't just like, let me grab your hand real quick for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's so strange, right?
Yeah, it's so toxic. Like every relationship, Bella, Jacob, Bella, Edward, like it's all toxic, and it feels like it feels like a very young and immature middle schooler's idea of true love.
Yeah. I completely agree.
And she's doing, like, she'll do these things. I just imagine myself as a 16-year-old. If someone said, sorry, I like somebody else, but then they like kissed my neck to say goodnight.
That's
What a jerk.
Well, and here's the thing. This whole movie revolves around a concept that I fundamentally disagree with, known as the friend zone. And I think that it's garbage. And I think that it operates based on the idea that a dude is owed something because he was like kind to a person.
Yep.
And that really frustrates me. But here's what I want to do. I want to talk about our friend zone. I want to talk about our friends here at this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. It's time for shout announcements.
Shout them out.
It's the shout announcement time. Our first shout announcement is going to go to Podbean, the place that hosts us. Thank you, Podbean, for letting us host our podcast on your website. Thank you so much for using your lovely, lovely servers.
I mean, we pay them for that privilege. It's not like they're like, hey, here you go, guys. What a wig. Thanks for letting us pay you, Podbean.
Thanks for existing to take a little bit of our money.
but I still think Chick-fil-A when they give me my sandwich.
Fair enough. And it is their pleasure.
Dude, Another analogy for our podcast on Wednesday.
It's what I do. The other shout announcement that we want to toss out real quick at the beginning is Wax Space. Thank you, Wax Space, for your space. We use it. We love it. That's where our studio is. It's a cool place to come hang, get some work done. If you're in the Dallas area, you don't have a home office or a place to get things done, and you have to get those things done, come over to Wax Space.
Get them done here at Wax Space. We do have some more shout outs. First one goes to Seth Pittman. Seth emailed us to our Gmail the link to the Twilight episode of Cinema Sins. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cinema Sins.
I'm not.
Yes.
They do really great, really funny analysis of movies, and theirs on Twilight is particularly brutal because, spoilers, I guess, there is so much to pick apart. So much is bad with that movie. So,
What?
Seth, thanks for sending that to us.
Really?
Cinema Sins, thank you for doing what you do. Thanks for hating on Twilight with us. Second shout out goes to Stacy Johnson. Stacy clarified something that I think was pretty nebulous for the three of us last week. She sent us a message on Facebook and she said, Rosalie is jealous of Bella. Rosalie is the blonde vampire sister, but not because of Edward. She's jealous of her humanity. She's mean to Bella because she thinks she is stupid for wanting the life she was forced into.
Which we'll get more detail into that.
Sure.
Later in the
I think
movie.
it was clarified a little bit in this one.
Yeah.
And it was clarified a little bit in this one. My response is still, then somebody messed up somewhere along the way and made it look like she wanted Edward and
Exactly.
Bella had him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Regardless
I think we can call it
but I
two-thirds,
do
'cause
appreciate
I didn't
the-
see it,
the
but
input.
the both of y'all did, so it's definitely a majority.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'd also like to ask something of you, the listener. Would you please rate and review us?
That would be wonderful.
I've actually walked some strangers through the process, and it's really easy.
Yep.
It's like, hey, check this out. Just go to your podcast app, give it a little rate, give it a little review, give us a listen. Even more than that, and I think everyone knows the intention at this point, but rating and reviewing, if we have X amount of reviews by the end of this year, we then can go through the process of qualification to be Rotten Tomatoes critics.
It's everything we want.
Yes.
It really is.
I would like to have you also subscribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all can't see my face right now
I can.
as the listener, but
What are you doing?
Why are you making that face?
What's happening to your
Oh,
face? Are
I'm
you
sorry, guys. It's
transforming?
just- No,
into
there's something about the blood of unsubscribers that kind of gets me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you hungry right now?
Yeah. Genuinely, I
Someone
am
rip
very
their
hungry.
throats out or something like that. But all that we've done for you this year is give you just about twice
About
the
one-
amount of episodes.
About 1.5 times.
and all you have to,
Carter, fight it. Years of practice.
all you have to do is just.
Carter.
Sorry, I'm holding my nose now.
Yeah, don't smell it.
All you have to do is just subscribe. Just click a button and subscribe, and then you're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that'll do it.
If you don't
No,
subscribe,
Carter.
I can get you an appointment with the Voltari to rip your head off.
I knew it was coming, and I didn't want to admit it to myself. And that was Shout Announcements.
What a good transition.
Stop.
And we're back right where we left off talking about Twilight New Moon.
Are we still on that one?
We are still on that one. And what I want to
Halfway
talk
there.
about is werewolf puberty.
Okay. How do y'all feel about the reveal? How do you feel?
It wasn't.
It wasn't a
hold up.
reveal.
We've seen a lot of good like werewolf changes, right? I mean, like we had Lupin in Harry Potter. We had, I guess it wasn't a werewolf change.
But it was
an animal
Bjorn,
change.
yeah.
But Bjorn changing into a
We've
bear.
seen a lot of animorphing on our show.
How do we rank the werewolf
It's
animal?
my super pump for this movie.
Wow,
Really?
I think it looked awesome.
I was about to say it's the worst one I've ever seen.
Really? No, I think it looked great.
Pops. He kind of just explodes into a wolf.
Yeah, I think it looked great. I loved the clothes like ripping as they changed. Like, I think it looked cool.
When they come back, are they naked or do the jorts come with the wolf?
No, it's magic jorts. It's magic jorts. They stay forever.
They're Hulk jorts.
Yeah. It's
Doge is not happy with this answer.
it's anti-rated R jorts.
fair
Right.
enough.
Instead
No,
of just having them naked,
Right.
which would make the most sense. But no,
Sure.
thanks.
Sure. And would probably
What if-
make the most money.
What if they transform and the jorts transform with them and all of the werewolves were wearing jorts?
That would be better.
Do y'all remember the exclamation of some of Jacob's little cousins or whatever they are, the other werewolf boys, once Bella found out that he's a werewolf?
Why don't you tell me about that?
I do remember it, but
I think
want
it's
you
the
to say it.
standalone best line of any movie of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I guess the wolf's out of the bag.
I'm sorry. I'm about to.
Do you imagine
guess
being,
throw
the
up.
wolf's out of the
imagine being a
bag.
writer who came up with that? I'm just like, guys, I've cracked it.
Guarantee he high-fived himself.
When they did the read through, do people just die laughing? Do they think it's just the
Dude,
funniest,
there were so many times,
most charming thing?
so many times in this movie where I laughed. Like, and I'm not trying to be like a cranky critic like Mr. Brody, but
Right.
like
You laughed at the movie.
I laughed at the movie, like when he took his shirt off
Yeah.
because Bella hit her head. Like he took his entire shirt off, like ripped part of it off. Man, or
Talking
when they
about-
say the wolf's out of the bag, I laughed out loud because these are so
Yes.
stupid.
But like, I think it's so fortunate that, and I know I keep bringing it up, but it feels not quite the same vein, but somewhere in the same genre. But with Fast and Furious, I think it's so fortunate that we did that first.
Right.
Yeah,
Because you do, and I'll continue to say it's one of the best series to listen to from beginning to end because you do see us have this turn.
there is
Like
a
this
moment.
about
yeah.
face of like, wait a second, okay, we're in.
Yeah.
And that's all to show you that Twilight also has this chance for us, right? It could
Sure.
do that even now.
I'm
It
honestly
could've.
hoping that it does.
Right.
Mm.
And so that's just to your point, Doge, that we're not trying to be intentionally cranky because we think that's going to be what you like to listen to.
No, of course not.
But we're just trying to be honest. And
Yeah.
this is how I honestly feel. It doesn't seem to have as much hope as Fast and Furious.
There is a
Oh, no.
whole scene.
which I never thought I'd say.
There's a whole scene where Bella and Jacob are standing in. Sorry, Bella and Jacob
Yeah.
are standing in the woods because where else are you going to have an important scene?
Exactly.
And they're talking about the whole werewolf situation. And genuinely, you could have taught that line to two razor scooters and thrown them on the ground in the middle of a forest
You're
and
so
had
good
the
at this.
same scene. Like, it's truly just as though two inanimate objects have just come to life and tried to have a conversation with one another.
Can I confess something, though?
Please.
I still don't think Kristen Stewart as Bella is awful.
I'm starting to think that it's the writing.
I still
she
don't
can't
think that.
cry. When Edward dumps her, she doesn't cry.
Right.
She just scrunches her face up and goes,
She cries like Portia's character in Arrested Development.
yes,
where
absolutely.
she just tries to force the tear out and
I
can't quite
know.
get it.
Yep.
It's so tough, but I don't know. I'm loving the timing of all of our past podcasts and stuff too, because I went from Daniel Radcliffe to DJ Tanner to
Yeah,
Taylor
it's quite
Lautner.
the ping pong game, huh?
And I don't know. I think I do need to see more of a branching out of emotion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I needed to see more high-speed tree climbing and racing to the tops of mountains and
Sounds like
sparkly
you want some more
reveals.
vampires.
I think so, yeah. I think that this movie is so vampire light and it turns around it all comes back around to the fact that this is just Twilight again, but this time with werewolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the machine that like reads your heart rate? That's like all
EKG,
in all the
right?
good things like beep, beep,
Isn't that an EKG?
beep.
Sure.
We'll call it an EKG. And we'll say our EKG goes from 0 to 10. On the EKG of plot or of like action or of like your actual heart rate throughout the movie, what do you think the majority, like what's your average on that? in terms-
0. Man, this is the most.
think I got
mediocre
1 to
thing.
2.
I'm mostly flatlined.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because I'm saying the whole vibe of this movie, not just the filter that they've used for like Portland,
Yeah.
like the whole vibe of this movie could be something I could intentionally like, man, having trouble sleeping. I didn't bring my sound machine with white noise. I could just play this on about 10% on my phone
Yeah.
and fall asleep to it.
And I think we're noticing that even in our discussion, like our speed is kind of flagging. We haven't made it through a lot of this movie, but really nothing happens in this one until the last like 20 minutes.
Most
This-
people talk at this like it's this top. It's like this. It's
Yeah.
right here.
But they talk
These
like
two
this.
movies both are just Mad Libs of each other, where the
Fair enough.
the nouns are whited out and they have just written werewolf over the top of it.
That's great.
So let's talk about some of the stuff that's unique to this one then. So
Voltari?
we've got the Voltari and we've got Edward,
It's Volturi.
whatever. And Edward wants to kill himself so he can't be with Bella.
Because he thinks
can't-
Bella's dead.
Because he thinks Bella's
Because
dead.
Jacob answered
Guys-
her house phone.
And something that I'm going to say, and I don't want it to be touchy, but I just wanted to, like, I don't know if something that appeals so much to teens that you should have a plot line with suicide.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yep.
That really, really bothered me.
Because they never addressed that was not a good idea.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
The
That's what
only
I'm saying.
reasoning for, hey, don't kill yourself is I'm still alive. Not, hey, maybe don't ever do
Don't
that.
ever kill yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is,
Well, because
your reasoning ended up being wrong, so you shouldn't do it. It was never like please don't ever do this again.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to be supernatural Romeo and Juliet, though.
Right.
Like I out loud as they were watching Romeo and Juliet in class, was like, oh, that's pretty subtle.
Right.
Because they're watching it, and Edward's like, must be lucky to get to die when you want to.
You know what though? I want to say I have a genuine problem with the way that this movie sort of paints suicide. Even in the Romeo and Juliet scene at the beginning, they paint it as not only a valid option but a beautiful option, and I just disagree fundamentally.
And that's not even
I'm not making a stand here. I don't think that's a surprising.
Well, that's a poor reading of William Shakespeare. Like, that's, like what he's not saying is this is a beautiful love story.
He's painting two idiots.
This is a tragedy of two stupid people.
Right.
Yeah.
And he even says something along the lines of that and still is like, but it must be nice to die whenever you want. And that's a concept that I would love to explore in a book that's not geared towards impressionable teenagers.
Exactly.
And I'm speaking this way as a former impressionable teenager. I just think that's problematic when we're writing stories for young adults and teenagers where we are glorifying in any way
Any kind
suicide.
of self-harm.
Right.
Yes.
And even at this point, too, it had momentum. I mean, it was very famous. And you now you're using all of the weapons to have complete control of the reader's emotion.
Yeah.
And then you've done, I think what made it so offensive to me was the power that the author already had.
I agree.
And then they went this way.
Well, and on top of that, I mean, I can look back and think of, especially as a middle school, high schooler around this time, I can think of the effect that these books had on the way that romance happened in middle school and high school, and just the way that people viewed relationships.
Yeah.
And if it was affecting things in that way, why wouldn't it affect the way that somebody, and I'm being a little more serious here because I'm only just now thinking about how much I hate this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And about how problematic I think this probably could at least be and might have been for some people who are impressionable and said, well, if my favorite vampire story says that that's a valid option, I just think it requires you as an author to say, what message am I delivering and to who?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that a ton on the podcast, but like you, as an author, you do have that responsibility.
I agree.
And as a storyteller, like every story that you tell, whether you explicitly moralize or whatever, like there's a message and a set of actions that you're saying is right and a set of actions that you're saying is wrong with every story.
Sure.
And when we include suicide and any kinds of self-harm in the category of things that are right and good and okay, then we're misusing the power of art.
Well, and I think that's what's dangerous, particularly in this kind of story, because I have, not only do I have no problem with gray area in stories, I prefer it. I love stories that live in the gray, but this is not that type of story. This is a fairly black and white story.
Right.
And I think you're absolutely right. When you make a hard yes and no on moral decisions and plant suicide on the yes side, it's just frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And, it's never painted as, we the audience, I don't think are ever supposed to interpret it as a good thing.
Right.
But still, that's how it's portrayed.
Yeah. I mean, as the audience too, no matter what team you're on, you don't want him to do that.
Right.
Like, that's why they make it so intense when she's running through Italy.
Right.
And he's about to be
I think I could even be more okay if she came to him and said like, hey, even if I was gone, don't do this.
Yeah.
And I think this is problematic because the Twilight series paints a very unhealthy relationship. And I know we've joked about that in other things like suicides, but like the relationship that they have is not good. And I think that's frustrating for me as a viewer now at the age that I'm at, watching and going, I don't want to root for them to get together,
right?
Because they are bad for each other.
Right.
And not in like a cute, like, oh, mutually assured destruction. Like, it's not that. It's not quirky. It's like, this is codependent and dangerous.
Yeah.
And Bella's a bad person. So there's that.
Yeah. To kind of take us another route, a couple things that I meant to say that just seemed like this doesn't make sense. Kind of early on when Alice is giving Bella a present for her birthday.
Right.
And we see that Jasper, we've kind of discovered his power, which I guess is mood. He can control your mood.
Manipulation, yeah.
Yeah, mood manipulation. So in the middle of the high school commons area, and again, the Cullens have given Bella a lot here. And they're saying, please keep our secrets. She yells to Jasper, stop with the mood thing.
Yeah.
As like, stop using your superpowers. That was stupid.
Yes.
Also, I want to say, I hope that someday I have something called the Carlisle effect, to where someone is like, man, you look 10 years younger than you should. You should probably move.
For real.
What a good compliment.
We're going to have to get out of here.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's some specific people. Shout out to, and I don't know if he listens, but this would embarrass him. I know a man named by the name of Mike Trozo that looks 10 or more years younger than he actually is, to which I envy it. But
he has to
nobody's
move.
saying this is fishy, even though we're so in the dark about vampires. We still kind of think you might be one.
I'm saying that. I'm saying, Mike, pack up and move.
You need to move now.
You look like a baby. Get out. I don't even know who this is.
It's a face swap.
I
like
don't
you
even
can do
know
it.
who this is.
Yeah.
Speaking of vampires, what's her name?
Victoria.
She's
Victoria.
back in this one.
And
But barely.
She swims in the ocean, which, no.
Yes,
They
I thought
can't
of the
do
two
that.
of you because
Yes.
of how much we brought this up last time.
I hate it.
They are just breaking down all the
They're not
rules.
vampires.
No.
Yeah.
And
No.
she bonks her nog underneath the water.
Mm-hmm.
When
Question
she
though.
cliff jumps.
What keeps werewolves from going into Canada? We chased her all the way to the Canadian border. Why did you stop
Oh, that's a great
chasing
question.
her? Was there like someone, like there's like a, somebody like, oh no, you can't have those big, we can't have no big dogs in here. I'm so sorry. I wish you could, but you know the rules.
I hope the Kelly
Um,
family is listening to this
Can't have the
episode
werewolves
right
in here. No, I'm so sorry, hon. You can't be here. But like they let vampires in. But they're like,
Yeah, that
the
is a
werewolves
weird
is like,
thing.
stop at the Canadian border. Don't
Is it
go any
something-
further.
is it
now. Maybe
something with the
it's out of their
They get
jurisdiction.
stuck in the maple. Like what?
It's
like,
too sappy. Turn around.
I can't stop eating these trees.
I've got sap in my fur.
Yeah. Her.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, actually,
no,
though,
you can't.
I want to
Keep chasing.
rewind about an hour 30 in this movie.
Okay.
When Sam brings Bella out of the woods, if I'm her dad, I'm going, hey, weirdo, why are you bringing my daughter to me when you're mostly naked?
Yeah. Put a shirt on.
What's your deal?
The jorts aren't enough.
Like, come on.
Yeah, dude.
I'm immediately saying, hey, how about you put my daughter down and leave town even?
You look too young.
Are they? Are
Yeah,
they?
you look
Are
too
the
young.
young werewolves worse than Taylor Lautner?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I think Taylor's the worst of all.
Because he doesn't have maybe as much of an excuse just because of age.
That's his thing, is that he is worse in the sense of we expect more from him, but I think on an objective scale, they are worse.
Okay, well, I mean, we're talking about the werewolves. I haven't super pumped yet. My super pump is the fact that you can tell the werewolves apart, like when they're fighting and stuff. Like I think it
Oh,
could
like
have,
their colors?
it could have really easily gone a Transformers 1 route where everything just looks like the exact same gray bits of CG, but werewolves did look distinct.
Yeah.
Did I say that the werewolf transformation was my super pump?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I wanted to make sure.
Because remember, then I said it's the worst one I've ever
I
seen.
wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah. You remember that?
Remember that?
You
Remember when I said
disagreed?
I didn't believe you?
Well, I guess that's the movie. We'll go ahead and rate it now.
Now we have to talk about the Volturi in Italy.
And it is good for us to talk about that.
Why did they include the part where we clarified that Alice stole a car? Why does that matter?
It doesn't.
Also,
So-
why does she have like a driving ascot?
yeah, I have no idea. So we get to Italy, and Edward is asking the vampire council to kill him. And they said, no, we like your gift.
I'm going to say a super pump, though. I will say Michael, I think it's Michael Sheen who plays Arrow. Like
The main guy?
yeah,
Guy.
he's a super pump.
Yeah,
He's
great.
played, I think on the opposite end, though, he wasn't a werewolf in the series with Mia Jovovich? No, Kate Beckinsale. What's that series?
Underworld?
Underworld. I think he's a werewolf in Underworld.
Really?
Which is really funny. And now he's a vampire now.
Huh.
But I kind of got to look at him and say, hey, okay, this makes sense because you're an experienced actor. And in comparison to everyone else,
Yeah.
experienced actor.
It might as well
yeah.
be Meryl Streep.
But I really did kind of like the way he played the role of a villainous vampire.
Yeah, that was fun.
He's
Because
great.
I'm really also comparing to other people playing vampires in this movie. And
The adult baby that was next to him, I hated.
The
I did
blonde
not,
guy?
Yeah, I did not like that.
I
guy.
liked the other one, though, that just looked in
he's
anguish.
Fine. He's fine. And I liked Dakota Fanning, actually. I think she was very creepy and good.
She was.
That's who that was. I was like, she looks
Yeah,
so familiar.
Dakota Fanning.
Yeah.
Dakota Fanning.
They spent so long having Edward just writhe around in pain on the floor. Also, were his abs painted? I think his abs were painted.
It looked a little bit.
I don't think those
Do you
were
feel
real
like they had
abs.
to say, "Hey, we need to kiss of Taylor."
I wonder
It
if
kinda went
he
a
was
little
like,
too
"Can I
far.
please just get a little something?"
Taylor Lautner added 30 pounds between the two movies.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Well, why you got so buff?
He's
a
like
muscle.
buff or something. God. Yeah. So this sequence with the Volturi is just about the only part of the movie that I was paying attention, like really engaged in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I was definitely paying attention. Obviously, I have a big
I think 'cause it's
responsibility as a
different enough.
podcast, but like this
Yeah.
is the stuff that was interesting to me.
Yeah, I spent a good amount of time in the slow-mo scene that went on for 45 hours of Bella running through the fountain to Edward. I spent a good amount of time yelling at the screen saying, "Scream! All you have to do is yell. You're 8 feet
I'm
from
here.
him.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, it's me, Bella. I'm almost to you." Like, instead of just like, no. Like, all you have to do is yell. He
Yeah.
knows what your voice
Good
sounds
point.
like.
Or wave or jump.
Yeah, pretty much any of those. Splash some water on him, throw something at him,
Because it's not going to hurt him. Throw garlic at him.
tackle him
Yeah.
instead of hugging him.
Put a stake in his heart. Not
Show him
gonna
a
kill him.
crucifix. Yeah, he's totally fine with
He's
all
totally
that stuff.
fine with all that
all
stuff.
that cool stuff vampires love.
Oh my gosh, I hate
So
it.
the important thing, I mean, the thing of consequence here is that Alice says, "I've seen her future," and she becomes one of us.
Right.
Essentially, right? I mean, that's the
Which
reason.
the
this
future scene.
Where she runs through the woods in a sundress barefoot, which, like, vampires do.
Yeah,
Not good.
No.
yeah. So again, I think you're right. That could have been at the end of the first Twilight.
Easy.
Like,
Easily.
imagine the first Twilight. Alice is staying away from her. Like, she wants to hang out with Alice. Alice won't talk to her. And she finally, towards the end, says, "Why won't you talk to me?" And Alice
Yeah.
breaks down and says, "I've seen your future. You become one of us. And I don't want that for you because this is awful."
Oh,
And I
and we can
think-
get rid of Rosalie at that point.
You
She
get
can
rid
be
of Rosalie?
gone. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Yeah. And I think because we are going to see the Volturi again, that we could have done more of their backstory in another movie too.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to say,
in the
like,
first movie, we
yeah,
could have
here's all
said,
the reasons it doesn't.
we could have
to be
seen the
that.
painting of Carlisle in the first movie and
Yeah.
said, like, let's dive into this right now.
Yeah.
This is so clearly an example of author writes book, then author decides should be series.
Right.
Yeah. Spicy take, don't need werewolves at all in this franchise.
Not even close.
So far, we don't need werewolves at all.
I think they were supposed to just be a world fleshing out thing until New Moon happened and she said, let me just do the first book again.
They don't need to be werewolves. They can just be vampire hunters.
Yeah, that could work too.
Like Belmonts or
Yeah.
The Van Helsings or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we see a scene that I think is played up for laughs, but the implication is horrifying of the woman leading an entire tour group to their death in the middle of this chapel.
Awful.
It's so
bad.
weird.
It's really bad. And I will pump on every now and then. They're not consistent, but some of the fight scenes are actually kind of cool and a little more creative. But
Sure.
I did when the Edwards defending Bella against the massive vampire,
Yeah.
there were some cool aspects to that I actually kind of enjoyed in
Yeah.
terms of that fight.
We also forgot to say when Laurent comes back in the field and Bella is the worst liar in all of human history.
Lie harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lie hard.
You're going to have to lie to him.
It was rough. It was really rough. But
Bella,
then
no, don't do it.
the werewolves kill him, so we learn werewolves are this whole thing is such a mess. And it really does feel like, man, Twilight was pretty good, huh? Maybe I should make another one of those.
This movie sort of feels like you made a pepperoni pizza and then at the end of it, you were like, oh, you know what? This pizza would be better if it also had sausage. Let me put it back in the oven to cook it again with, like, there's
Yeah.
no need for it. You're
Yeah.
rehashing for something that wasn't necessary for the final product. And like the circle back is just completely unnecessary.
Yeah. I totally
agree.
agree. So Edward doesn't kill himself. Bella's future is to be a vampire.
Well, I mean, also, I think a big twist to the plot is no one has any kind of effect on Bella.
Right.
Bella
Oh,
is
yeah.
immune.
And that's great. I like
That's
that.
cool. I like
That's
I like
interesting.
that.
You've given me something interested in, like, that I want an answer to. There's
I-
a lot of things I don't want an answer to.
It's been a
in
long
this
time. I want to be very clear. I do not remember a satisfying reason or conclusion to why she. It might exist. I haven't watched it in a long time, so let's find out. But like,
we are going to find out together.
spoiler alert: I do not remember a satisfying like this is why.
Midichlorians.
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably
Probably.
midichlorians. So the movie ends with her getting voted on, and we have the first scene where Rosalie is worth anything, where she steps forward and says,
Yeah.
"Thank you for saving my brother. I value you. I'm learning to love
Sports
you.
vampires.
I don't want this though."
more thumbs down. He's heading down. on my list.
Marshmallows.
Like,
that
you
guy.
better believe it, sister, or whatever he says, and like hugs
Yeah.
her.
Alice's whole thing was like,
Jasper's good.
Jasper again. Jasper coming
Jasper
in clutch.
and Alice. She's just doing what she can with the lines, but I think that couple is good.
Jasper's whole thing where he's like, it would be awesome to not want to eat you every time I see you.
Right.
That's so good.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Again, a movie where, and you know what? You know who's not gotten any love from us yet? What's her name? Esme?
The wife,
Yeah.
Carlisle's wife.
She's great, man.
She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
A
she's,
movie that's about Carlisle and I think her name's Esme or but a movie about the two of them and their children, Jasper and Alice, is all I want at this point.
sure.
I'm good. I don't need anything else.
Yep.
I'm down. But Jasper's almost like that's what's weird too, is how long has Alice been turned? But Jasper's a recent turn, so he's probably 24. I wish I just saw more gaps in maturity. But I guess we don't have to do that.
Right.
You know, that's part
I hear
too
you,
of like
though.
a lot of it is with the Edward thing of like, where did you become oblivious to sense for a century?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You
that's
make
good.
bad decisions just like most 110-year-olds.
So how does this movie end exactly?
So
Anybody remember?
they vote on Bella. She's going to be a vampire. She's going to wait till after graduation. And then she goes and has an important scene in the woods.
Oh my gosh,
with
she
Edward
does,
and
doesn't
Bella.
she? He wants to talk to me. I need to go meet him in the woods for the conversation.
Listen to me. Under one condition. Let's make a deal. 5 years. 3. You are so stubborn. One condition. Marry me.
Yeah.
End.
Is that it? Is that
Well,
how
no,
it is?
there's a fight. Like he and Jacob almost get in a fight.
Neither of you. Okay, here, hold up. Neither of you can hurt me without. Neither of you can hurt each other without hurting me.
Yeah,
That-
pretty much.
That was real crap.
We just played a clip.
Yeah, that was
Straight for the
basically
real crap. And then
ripped straight from the
Edward,
DVD.
one condition, you have to marry me. And then Bella goes, "Ah," and it cuts to black. Literally, she does this little baby cough, and it cuts to black. Not Jacob Black, the color black, but it cuts to
Right,
black.
sure. Are they still in the woods at this point? Or are they back in the car?
No, they're in the woods.
They're still in the woods?
Marry me,
And then it's the end.
and then black. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Huh? I mean,
What a turd.
yeah, it's a dumpster fire. Should we review? Or sorry, let's review this movie now. Let's
Yeah,
talk about the whole
fine.
thing. No, should we rate this movie? Is it time?
Yeah.
Well, we here at Two Chunks and a Hunk have invited for 2019 science back into the picture. Thank you, science, for being here. We appreciate it. With the
Percolate.
scientific cinema scale, trademark, copyright, all rights reserved for Two Chunks and a Hunk LLC. And it is as follows. The best thing that we can ever say about a movie is own it, don't lend it, buy that poster. The next best thing that we can say is buy it. After that, it's going to be rent it. That's followed by stream it and then forget it. And last but certainly not least, the worst thing that we could ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us. I'm going to go first. This movie is an easy forget it. Just toss it out the window. As you drive, let it fly into the wind.
Litter.
And be
Litter.
done. Litter.
It's biodegradable. Don't
litter
worry.
this mo- yeah, no. It's completely safe. It's like a banana peel. But there's just no need. There's no need for any part of this movie. All of it could have been done better in smaller portions sprinkled throughout the rest of the movies. There's no purpose.
I'm going to say forget it for the exact same reasons.
Okay,
This
fair enough.
is the most unnecessary sequel I have ever seen.
I'm sitting here thinking I know what I'm going to say, but then I'm a couple ticks away from even being worse.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to say, what
Where's the saving grace?
what does not make this a God has forsaken us for me?
Wow. Okay.
I was in that same boat.
Have you given one of these before?
I don't think I ever have, and I think this might be my first one.
Wow.
But God has forsaken us.
Okay.
This movie, it's just such a nauseating balance of, I know it's trying not to be a B movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it made $700 and something million. And
Yeah.
I'm just offended
Mm-hmm. On behalf of taste.
on behalf of taste. And again, I realize fans, chunkies, I'm not coming from a place that knows the story well. But I'm coming from a place of the person who's been given access to a movie theater.
Sure. Yeah.
Or
You
to
have
see a movie.
the ability to watch and listen to things.
And it's just not a good movie.
correct.
It's not a good movie. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay.
God hath forsaken us.
Okay. I respect it. Very interesting. Well, I guess you can probably tell the tension in the air here in the studio as we reflect on what awaits us next week. Another Twilight movie.
More Twilight.
We're not even halfway there.
We're not. The halfway point lies somewhere halfway in the middle of the next movie.
Yeah.
That is wild to think about.
Goodness gracious.
There's a lot more Twilight that we have to watch, and there's a lot more Twilight that we would love for you to listen to.
What's the next one? Twilight Curfew?
Yeah, it's Twilight.
Yeah.
It's Twilight Curfew, and then after that, I think it's Twilight Closing Time. One last call for alcohol.
It's my favorite
Twilight
soundtrack.
Twilight After Party Part 2.
Yep. And then after the party, it's the after party, and
Yeah.
after the party, it's the hotel lobby, and around about 12, they got to clear the lobby.
I can't wait until Twilight Hotel Lobby to come out.
Yeah, same.
It's going to be so good.
Twilight 7 a.m. Waffle House run is going to be so
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Twilight brunch.
Yep.
It's
That's
just,
the Carlisle prequel.
again, I'm here for it. I want it
I
so
would watch
bad.
the Carlisle
Hondo.
prequel for sure.
Let's spend some time and try and write some Carlisle fan fiction that's better than
Carter already started.
that's true.
Remember that's why he's the Hunk.
Oh yeah, no, your story's gonna be so great.
Yeah.
I would like to finish this episode by erasing our memories,
Men in Black style.
Men
Nice.
in Black style. And the only way to erase a memory is to replace a memory. So I want us to each think of one scene from this movie that would be better served if it was spliced in from another scene from a completely different series of movies.
Amazing.
I'm Jordan. And instead of cliff diving, I would prefer if Bella tried to summon the spirit of Edward by driving 2 cars through the middle of a city, trailing a giant vault behind them and causing a trail of destruction wherever she goes.
Amazing.
I'm Doge, and I would love this movie a whole lot more if when she's spending time with Jacob, instead of fixing motorcycles, she's riding his back while he's a big wolf and he's going fast up mountains and climbing trees and jumping really far.
Okay.
Like if we're going to copy Twilight 1, let's just copy Twilight 1.
Let's just do it.
I love
That would actually be pretty great.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Wolfback riding.
Wolfpack riding. I'm Carter, and imagine Bella saying, "Hey, Jasper, stop with the mood thing." She's got her present that's got her new dress in it for her birthday. She's walking out. They're leaving the school and gets Regina Georged by a bus. And just gets destroyed.
Mean Girl style.
Yeah.
So then now we've
Interesting.
added a new vein to where, well, maybe she should be a vampire so she can walk again.
She is so clumsy.
Interesting. She's so clumsy is the thing.
There it is.
Wow.
Twilight.
Truly a wonderful exercise in creativity. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'll be your host next week.
Be sure to tune in next time for 2 Chunks and a Hunk.
And if you look in the mirror and don't see yourself, you're probably not a vampire because they can see themselves.